Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the El Toro's podcast, exclusively now on Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Here, let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on things like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast, which is always a plus, with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast right at your fingertips and in one place. I can't believe it took me this long to switch over to Anchor.fm, but I couldn't be happier now. So, get yourself started and download the free Anchor app now, or go to Anchor.fm to get started.
How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of El Toro's podcast. I am your host, El Toro, and it is March the 6th, Monday, 2017, in this very frigid New York City. Holy fuck. Anybody that knows anything about New York or has been to New York knows that our weather always is in a change. It's constantly changing. We have no control over it. It is a roulette on a daily basis. Spin the wheel, find out what is it going to be for today, and then luck of the draw, you have already been dressed up for the occasion. And if not, you're screwed. Either way, you're screwed. But being a New Yorker that I am, I'm always prepared. So if it's too hot, no worries here. If it's too cold, I'm not worried either because I'm always dressed for the occasion. I've known the patterns long enough to know that I never should take it for granted. And being a husband and a father, I can't afford to get sick because, dude's got to work, got to bring in a paycheck, bring home the bacon. You know what I mean, guys? So, right off the top of my head, I have to do this because it's been a long time coming. I want to do a huge shout out to ProWrestlingTees.com. If you don't know what they are, how dare you? Shame on you. Go check out their website. They have lots and lots of wrestling T-shirts, and I encourage you all to check them out. Purchase a T-shirt from one of your favorite independent wrestlers. And tell them I sent you. Okay? Tell them Del Toro's podcast sent you to them. Now, I'm giving them a shout out because they really took care of me when I made my purchases of my T-shirts. There was a limited edition Kenny Omega 6-star T-shirt, long sleeved, and they're not making them anymore. And I was able to snag one of the last few ones, and it arrived. I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite T-shirts. That I said, you know what, I'm going to get myself another T-shirt, and I wound up getting one of the new Bullet Club T-shirts in white short sleeve with the Bullet Club fitted flex hat, and I am extremely happy. The comments and the likes that I'm getting on the street when I'm walking with this, like saying, "Oh, dude," and I'm getting the Wolfpack sign, the Too Sweet sign from a lot of people because they are followers of the Bullet Club. They are followers of New Japan Pro Wrestling. They are a follower of independent professional wrestling, which is what it's always all about. All the shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com are owned and sold by your favorite wrestling superstars. You have your TNA Wrestling, you have New Japan Pro Wrestling, you have Lucha Underground, and you have Ring of Honor Wrestling. The list is long. You got from Hacksaw Jim Duggan to the Legion of Doom, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Big Van Vader, Jim Ross, Diamond Dallas Page, the Young Bucks official merch, and so on and so forth. So please go give them a check out. Please buy the merchandise because not only are you supporting ProWrestlingTees.com, you are supporting the wrestlers. Profits for the wrestlers here. Any purchase that you make goes to the wrestlers. Not a 5% portion of the proceeds go to the wrestler, like certain organizations like, oh, I don't know, WWE.com. You pay $50 for a shirt or a sweatshirt, and the talent gets maybe like $5, $10 to the name. It's not really fair to the wrestlers, but that's how WWE is. Please check out ProWrestlingTees.com. Tell them El Toro's podcast sent you, and you're not going to be disappointed with the quality, and it's money back guaranteed. Um, from what their website says. So check them out. Do your due diligence. Do yourself a favor. Support the independent wrestlers. Buy their T-shirts. All right, we are practically 24 hours removed from WWE's Fastlane. It's the Raw exclusive pay-per-view that took place last night. Now, most of you know that there are certain pay-per-views that I watch. Uh, I'm always glued to the TV to watch them. It's the Royal Rumble, it's WrestleMania, it's the Survivor Series, and it's SummerSlam. Not in that particular order because reverse SummerSlam and the Survivor Series. And the other ones, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll watch it, or no, you know what? Not really in the mood. Let me read about it online, what the results are, catch some glimpse of some of the highlights on YouTube from WWE when they post them. But lately, a lot of the writing for the matches and the storylines have gotten so much better, and they hyped it up so big that, you know what? I'm going to check it out. I'm going to check out Fastlane 2017 from start to finish, from the kickoff show all the way through. Excuse me. And I got to tell you, I was incredibly impressed with the card. Okay, especially when you have the talent that you do now being given the opportunity on Raw, on SmackDown, in the WWE in general. Okay, the cruiserweights did the kickoff show when you had Akira Tozawa and Rich Swann versus the Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar with Alicia Fox. That was a great tag team match. The winners of that match was Akira Tozawa and Rick Swann. I encourage you to check it out. It was a great, great match from start to finish. Start of the pay-per-view, the very first match was Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. These are two guys who have actually enjoyed watching them in the independent scene, whether by YouTube or whether by DVDs that I've been lent, so I can check them out. And this was no different. Watching these two guys grow and grow and grow every single time, and getting the opportunity that they got was amazing. And that was a great match. The winner of the match was Samoa Joe, but via submission. And following that match was the Raw Tag Team Championship match, where you had members of the club, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, versus Enzo and Big Cass. And I got to tell you, that was a really good back and forth. The story that these two teams told in the ring was phenomenal. You know my love for the Bullet Club and for the club. I really wanted Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson to win, and I got my wish. They're still Raw Tag Team Champions. That was a really good match. You guys have to check out on the network. The third match was Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks, two NXT alumni, and they did not disappoint. They fought, they performed, they wrestled their hardest, and whenever they panned out to the audience, I saw people standing. It was a great, great match. The winner of the match was Sasha Banks, believe it or not. It was great. The finish was pretty good. The fourth match, a little bit of back history on this. On the kickoff show, you had Jinder Mahal and Rusev arguing, bickering, and they went to Foley. And long story short, Foley set both of them up to singles matches. So it looks like the team has broken up. So you should see what happened when they both came out. but I'm not going to spoil that. I encourage you to watch that. Uh, so the match, Jinder Mahal took on Cesaro, and that was pretty cool. Cesaro won that match, and following that match, Rusev was up next, and he had to go up against the Big Show. And let me tell you that I don't think I've ever seen Rusev decimated like that in a really, really long time. So winner was Big Show. The sixth match of the evening was the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, which, by the way, I still think that the Cruiserweight Championship belt should go back to the old school classic one that we originally knew of back in the WWF days, but that's neither here nor there. Neville, who's the champion, was going up against the gentleman Jack Gallagher. That was an astounding matchup. I got to tell you, I was very upset when we didn't have any more of the cruiserweights because of the WCW going away. But the cruiserweight division now with the WWE is just amazing. I would like to see more of those matches on Raw since they are part of Raw. But you would see them a lot if you're watching WWE 305 or 205, whatever that is. I don't get to see it honestly as much as I would like to, but it's definitely on my to-do list to watch those matches. But still champion is Neville. I haven't seen him do the Red Hour in a really long while, and it was a treat to see it again. The next match was the Battle of the Behemoths, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. Now, this match delivered. It was incredible. It had an amazing story to it, and I have to say that it was. I think this is what is going to cement Roman Reigns now going forward. He has. I've seen a lot. I saw a lot of people cheering for him after this match, which is what he deserves. He deserves the recognition. He deserves that positive push. And I think now they actually WWE did something right with him. The winner of that match was Roman Reigns. Now the last two matches, both of them for the championship. The eighth match was the WWE Women's Championship for Raw, where you had the champion Bayley go up against the Queen of the pay-per-views, Charlotte Flair. And let me preface this with saying my wife doesn't watch as much wrestling as I do. But when she did watch wrestling, she remembers the days where you had the divas during that time. Some of them, not all of them, not really wrestling. They were just like slapping and grabbing a hair and tossing people around and doing lingerie matches and the what so. But you did have the ones who actually wrestled. You know, you had your Eve Torres, you have Kelly, you had you have still Natalia, Beth Phoenix, Glamazon, Lita, Trish Stratus, Mickey James, and then you had many other people who weren't as good as wrestling per se. So for my wife to actually see the match almost to its entirety and say that this is incredible, they are actually truly wrestling, it is a huge accolade. It is a huge compliment because my wife honestly did not enjoy watching the women wrestling as much as she would enjoy watching Cena, CM Punk, Bret the Hitman Hart, The Miz, Ziggler, and those guys. So when she saw the Flair Bayley match and she said she was impressed, I was like, wow, because I knew that these girls do really well. These women are true wrestlers, all of them now, and they brought back what was missing in the women's division, which was actually pure wrestling. And Bayley and Flair wrestled their hearts off, literally blood, sweat, and tears in that middle of the ring, and still champion Bayley. Now, the last match, Kevin Owens versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship. There's a lot of people arguing that it was a total squash match, and they really didn't like it. They really wanted to see a wrestling match. But what people don't understand is this: the character Goldberg in WCW was the most dominant force on the roster, going undefeated for over about 169 matches or so, 170 matches. And he would finish his matches in under a couple of minutes. The whole goal bringing Goldberg back was to bring that dominance back. Okay, everyone knows Goldberg can't do a actual wrestling match. Okay, the proof in the pudding was when they actually gave him William Regal in WCW to wrestle against. That was a disastrous match. Mind you, remember this is 17, 18 plus years ago. Okay? So to say that this was not how it should have gone is stupid. The fact that Goldberg won is to be expected for several reasons. Number one, Goldberg is a dominant superhero, as he is putting it right now. He has come back for one last run, one last championship. And what better way to end or possibly continue going on as champion to WrestleMania and then face off with Brock Lesnar? That's just a match to be seen. That's the match where everyone is going to fork out money to watch. And it just makes sense. The build-up, however, was excellent. Now, if this was like a true wrestling match and they were going to have them wrestle, I would think that Kevin Owens would, in fact, out-wrestle Bill Goldberg. They would probably still have Goldberg win, but it would be a longer match, and it would defeat the whole purpose of showing how dominant it is. So I liked it. I loved the build-up. I loved the story behind it. And Kevin Owens is just a great wrestler to work with. I've heard nothing but great things about him. I would love to meet him one day. Shouts out to Kevin Owens. I know you're going to get that belt back somehow. You always find a way. And you're still one of my favorites, hands down. Your new champion, new Universal Champion is Bill Goldberg, and he's going on to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar. So my thoughts on Fastlane, it was probably one of the best Fastlanes I've seen in a really long time. I will give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Reason for being 4 out of 5, I think they could have actually done a better job with the Jinder Mahal and Rusev storyline. Not to say that their matches weren't great. Their matches were great, but I feel like they could have actually done a little bit more to spice that up. You'll see what I mean once you see the pay-per-view. Now, going off of WWE for a quick second, I just want to give a huge shout out and congrats and a lot of love for these two guys. I've seen them grow in the independent circuit, and I've watched their matches online whenever I haven't had a chance to see them live. And I've gotten to get some great pictures of them when I've been at the events. And I'm truly honored to know these two people Um, they are the two members of EYFBO, the Nasty Assassin Mike Dratzit, and the Funky Monkey Angel Ortiz, because they debuted at Impact Wrestling their very first night as members of the new LAX and won the TNA Tag Team Championship Gold. I'm so proud of you guys. I love you guys with all my heart. You guys deserve it. I have kept saying to anybody who would ever read my blogs and who would listen to the podcast, or anybody who I talk to on the street that support the independent wrestling and know about you guys, that you two are the best tag team out there. To say the least, that you are probably one of the top five in the world, being up there with the Hardys, being up there with the likes of the Young Bucks. That's it's incredible, incredible, and you guys deserve all of this. You truly are one of the best tag teams in wrestling today, and I'm very proud of you. I can't wait to see you guys again soon, to personally congratulate you and shake your hand and hopefully get a picture of the two of you guys. Now, coming back a little bit to the WWE, I am very, very happy to see that as part of the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2017, that the Ravishing one is coming home. I'm talking about Ravishing Rick Rude has been announced to be the latest wrestler to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Now, if the rumors are true, I'm not sure. As of this podcast, I heard that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, one of his biggest arch rivals, will be inducting him. So here's how we have for the class of 2017. We have Ravishing Rick Rude, we have Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon, we have Diamond Dallas Page, DDP, we have the original Rock and Roll Express, and we have Kurt Angle. So this year's Hall of Fame is going to be great. I wouldn't miss it. I have the WWE Network, so I really can't miss it. Another shout out that's going to go to is to my very close dear friend Matthew Ryan, the co-creator of Capital Wrestling, because he has been featured on the Big Gold Belt podcast, which is available on SoundCloud. So check out episode 141 on SoundCloud of the Big Gold Belt podcast, where Matt Ryan is actually going to be talking about the very first show of Capital Wrestling, which, as you guys listened to the podcast before and you've seen me posted about on Facebook, that their first show is going to be live at the Cathedral Hall, which is located at 380 Montgomery Street on Jersey City, New York, 07302, on Saturday, March the 25th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tickets are still available on capitallive.eventbrite.com. If you want more information about that, just go check out Capital Wrestling on their Facebook page. Of course, once again, shouts out to Matt Ryan. Shouts out to the Big Cold Belt Wrestling Podcast for having Matt Ryan on. Also, again, as always, a shameless plug to please check out Capital Wrestling Live on their Facebook page. And just go to the event, buy tickets, get the T-shirt, and be there, because I'm certainly going to be there. I'm going to be enjoying it. Very first live event ever. And I wouldn't miss it for the world. Okay, we're coming down to the end of the podcast, and there are some random thoughts that I just want to get off of the top of my head. One of them being the craze, or that was a craze of one of the most downloaded games the second it came out. I'm talking about the Pokemon Go game, and you guys may have heard, you may have seen on my Facebook page and on my podcast that I signed up for it, and I was playing, and I was trying to catch them all. And during the summer, I was really enjoying it, because it actually got me out of my chair, walking around, doing my thing, catching these things. It actually made me exercise just a tad bit more, which was absolutely awesome. And something happened to the account, and for some reason, I had forgotten my password, and I've changed it way too many times, and it flagged towards the Pokemon Go servers and the Niantic, who are the makers of the game, that it was it got banned for one reason or another for that first account. So I figured, okay, I'm going to create two more accounts. I'm going to create one that I'm actually going to work from scratch, from start to finish, and I'm going to create a second account where I am going to not do it the right way. I'm going to do what's known as sniping, just to test a couple of theories out. And long and behold, the one that I was actually doing everything legitimate was the one that got banned, and the one that was getting done not legitimately did not get banned. It did get banned eventually because I wanted it to get banned. But the one that I was working really hard, doing everything correctly, got banned, and it annoyed me. So I put in a ban request, and they said, no, it's going to stay banned. So I'm like saying, you know what? The hell with you. I didn't have any time to actually argue with it, and I figured, okay, I'm just going to create a new account and once again do everything legit. The only different thing that I did at that particular time is I actually invested money in it. So I finally got to like a level 28, and I caught everything, almost everything. I still needed to get like the regionals, which was never going to happen because I don't have the money to travel to these locations to catch them. The legendary and a couple of the baby eggs. Okay. So I get as far as to level 28, and then I decide, you know what? I'm gonna fork down. I'm gonna throw down $10, and I'm gonna increase my storage for Pokemon and for items. So this way, I have lots of Pokeballs. I have no intentions of actually battling gyms. It's just a waste of time. And I want to catch more Pokemon, and I can level them up so I can have a really good team if I ever decided to actually do any battling of the gyms or trading. And the second I actually did that and invested my money, several days later I couldn't log on to my account. I'm like saying, okay, something must be wrong with the servers. No one else is having an issue but me. So I reach out to Niantic and let them know what's going on here. This is my username. This is my nickname. This is the email address associated with the account. I can't log in. And they said that my account was banned, which is absolute bullshit because I've done everything correct. I've done everything legit. It is a different email account, different name, everything completely different, and everything was completely legit. And it's coming up as that thing is banned because I violated the terms of service and the Pokemon training guides. And you know what? I'm done. This is it for me. This is bullshit to me. I don't know why they would actually go up against a guy who is actually doing everything correct. Meanwhile, they don't have the balls and the fucking cojones to actually go to these YouTube channels and see the people who are actually legitimately doing it by cheating and not banning any of their accounts. This is bullshit. I don't know why they're doing this thing. So this is it for me. I put in a dispute to get my money back, and that'll be the end of that. But that's it for me. Uh, Everything that they have is automated. They go off a script, so I don't know if there's anybody intelligent that's working there in the support team, but they're fucking assholes. That's all I can say. It's a total waste of my time. So I'm done with you, Pokemon Go. You can kiss my fucking ass for all I care, and that's that. I'm not dealing with you anymore. It's a waste of my time, and I could be doing other things instead of promoting and investing my time and my hard-earned money just so you can actually pick somebody and ban them for doing everything legitimate. It's not my fault that I'm actually catching things easier and quicker than other people. That's hey, I had the luxury of being able to work in a place where I can actually just take a walk out the door for a breather, catch what I need to catch, and then come right back in. All right. So, fuck you, Niantic. Fuck you, Pokemon Go, and fuck you, people, the support team there. Okay. So that's one random thought. Another random thought, pretty much. I think that's more like a random rant than a random thought than anything. Well, whatever. The other random thing going around in my head is you ever actually get to a point in time where you actually see something and you're like, wow, yeah, that happens to me all the time. I don't know why that came up. But there was one particular situation that came up that actually puzzled me, and it happened today while I was working. If your specialty, where you're working at, is to look at, I guess, a document, and your title is a person who reviews documents and adjusts them or corrects them the way they need to be corrected, and you send it down to somebody like me in IT. As I say, I don't understand why this program is not working. And it's like saying, well, I take a quick look at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting the same results. And then I go back to like, why don't I take a look at the core? And when I look at the core of the original document, there actually is a problem with the document. Like saying, okay, you're a document specialist, and you didn't catch this. Uh, it's it boggles the mind. But instead of me actually saying anything to them, I'm like saying, "So, okay, look, this is what I discovered. I managed to see this, blah 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 blah." And sure enough, uh, because I didn't say anything bad, I just said, "Oh, look, this is what I found. I'm a savior. I'm a savior, and I could do no wrong, which is great." But here I am talking shit about them on the background. And things like that a little like puzzle me. Things that I see that you think would make sense, but really doesn't make any sense, and then you're doing your telltale. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, here's another case in point. Is I was going home the other day. This was probably last week, and you all know I take public transportation to head home. Specifically, in Grand Central Station, I take what's known as the Metro North train, and it takes me north of the city. Those tickets aren't cheap, okay? Um, so for the monthly, you pay a little over 200 bucks, and I think this entitles or gives some people this entitlement that they can actually do whatever the hell they want because they're paying for that much money. And this one particular person took her shoes off and put them on top of the seat, and, as if this was her bed. Uh, Forget the fact that she took off her shoes. Like, what if you actually had some sort of like fungal infection on your feet and you're putting your fucking feet on top of the chair in front of you? Okay? And not just any particular seat. This is a seat that, if you look right above it, it says you are required to give this seat up for any disabled person or person with disability or service needs. And you're putting your stink ass fucking feet on top of the chair. I am so glad that the conductor came by and said something to her. And then everybody was just like, like talking shit about her. But I put that bitch on blast. So if you guys are following me on my Instagram account, you will see the picture that I'm talking about. And if you see her, put her ass on blast too. So teach them not to do stupid things like that. All right? It's just wrong. Come on. You wouldn't do that at somebody else's house. If you're a guest in somebody else's house, you wouldn't take your feet up and put it on top of their chair like that. This is ridiculous. It's disgusting. You, you're not that entitled. All right? This is a public place, okay? Don't do that kind of shit. All right? That's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know. I may have been brought up with a little bit more common sense than most people, but come on, that's just disgusting. All right, guys. You know what? I think that is going to be it for me for tonight. I need to start packing up and getting ready to head home because guess what? even though I'm clocking out at 7 p.m. tonight, I'm still on call tonight. So I have to make sure that I have a decent amount of rest. So if a call comes in, I can wake up refreshed and be able to assist the person and then go right back to sleep until I come in tomorrow morning. So guys, this is El Toro's podcast signing off. Y'all be safe.